I don't like to think about what could have happened had my axe not been as sharp, nor my senses as keen. After all, there is no one left to come to my aid. I may have lost my companions, but it is for their sake that I must continue. The ruler of these lands must die.
Now, most of I get people from all around the world. This is Nick from OVA Let's Plays. Welcome to Hervor Bloodtooth Part 7. And initially, I thought most of this episode was filler. There's not that much in this episode. But the more and more I got thinking of this, and that she says she's gonna take on the ruler of these lands, the more I was thinking that she's probably gonna try to take on the boss, and she's probably gonna die. It's almost guaranteed. And there's been multiple hints and suggestions that that's going to be her ultimate fate. Over and over and over again, she's talked about how perilous these lands are, how perilous the deep north is, and how you can freeze and die. And then how so many of her friends have died along the way, and she's the last one, and survivor's guilt and all this stuff. And she got kidnapped by this Allah King thing, which presumably isn't even a mini boss. It's probably just a regular enemy, and she barely made it out. She barely survived. And granted, this is the final biome in the game, and like a lot of games that progress, where your character progresses, a common enemy in the later biome is basically stronger than probably a boss in the first biome type of thing. It's very common with RPGs, for example, but still, it's a relatively common enemy in this biome, and she barely made it out, which leads me to believe that either she's going to die facing maybe a mini boss or the actual boss, and that we're going to come across her tombstone. And there's multiple ways it could go down. It could go down, maybe she's fighting the boss and you don't see the boss, but she's fighting it, and then she's like, oh, you gotta finish what I started, and then she just dies and her tombstone pops up. Or maybe she has this epic clash with this enemy that you don't know off screen, and it could be maybe one of the mini bosses you have to fight in order to get to the boss itself. And then you come across, and then she has this fight scene with that boss, right, this mini boss. You don't see the mini boss and she dies, or it fades to black and you don't know what happens. And then how cool would it be to come across that area where you're fighting this mini boss or the boss of the biome? Like maybe it's one of the Jotuns, maybe it's one of those frost giants that you have to face to get enough of the trophies or whatever it is to summon the main boss. And you come across her tombstone there, and then it's like one of those Vegosphere type or runestones, one of those runestones where you get to read those. There's been so many of those out through the game where you come across these random people that have died in all these areas, and you come across hers, and that would be a cool way to end the whole series of the Hervor Bloodtooth. There's 7 parts. This is by far the longest running lead up to, and it makes sense because this is presumably the last biome and update, and leading it to the 1.0 full release of the game. I still think, as far as the timeline of the game goes, it's probably gonna come out in December for beta, and then at least I'm hoping it is, because that would still line it up. A lot of people think February because it'll be a full year. Not a full year, it'll be the anniversary of when the game was released. I think it still lines up to have the beta in December and then the full release once all the bugs are done and stuff in February. Now, I could be wrong. It could end up going into February for the beta release instead. That could be what happens. At the time, I did not think of the call to arms being a thing, so I think that slowed him down a little bit as far as progress, the progress timeline. Thank you everybody for watching. Let me know down what do you guys think, how the Hervor Bloodtooth series is going to end. And thank you everybody for watching. Bye everybody.